The last session we looked at just the derivative and antiderivative of sine x and cos x. Let's get a little bit more complicated and let's introduce the chain rule. So let's say we have the sine of 3x minus 1 and we want the derivative. So the derivative of sine x. Well, the derivative of sine x, as we said before, was cos x. So the derivative of sine bracket is cos bracket. That's the first part. The second bit is the derivative of that bracket. The derivative of 3x minus 1 is 3. So we simply have to multiply by the derivative of the bracket. That's the chain rule. So we end up with 3 cos 3x minus 1. All right, what if we had a cos 2x plus 3, and we want the derivative? Well, the derivative of cos is negative sine, so we put negative sine bracket. We don't change the bracket here. And the second bit, we times by the derivative of the bracket. The derivative of 2x plus 3 is 2. So we've got negative 2 sine 3x plus 3. And that is the derivatives of sine and cos. Now, of course, you might like to do one more complicated one. Let's say we have 1/3 sine of 4x plus cos of 3x. Well, the derivative of 1/3 sine of 4x is 1/3 cos 4x. That's for the first bit. The second bit, you have to multiply by the derivative of the bracket. So you end up with 4/3 cos 4x. And the derivative of cos 3x is negative sine 3x. And you have to multiply that by the derivative of the bracket times it by 3. So you end up with negative 3 sine 3x. So I'll put that negative in front of that negative 3. All right, let's have a look at some antiderivatives. So if the function is sine of 3x minus 1, what's the antiderivative? So let's put the primitive, capital F. Well, the antiderivative of sine is negative cos. Don't change the bracket. Now, the derivative of that bracket is 3, but this time we don't multiply by the derivative, we divide by the derivative. And don't forget plus c. All right, let's have a look at another function, cos 3x or 2x plus 3. And we want the antiderivative. So the primitive of this is positive sine 2x plus 3. And then we divide by the derivative of that bracket, which is 2. And we put plus c, and that is antiderivative. So let's get a complicated equation. 7x cubed minus 1/4 sine 2x plus 2 cos 3x. All right, so the antiderivative of 7x cubed is 7x 4 over 4. You raise the power by 1. The integral of sine is negative cos, so we make that positive 1/4 cos 2x, and we divide by 2. So let's make that 8, 1/2 of 1/4. And the antiderivative of cos x is sine x. So cos 3x becomes sine 3x. And we divide by the derivative of that bracket is 3. And we've got to put a plus c on the end to finish that primitive. Okay, so we've been looking at sines and coses. Let's have a look at tan and sec squared.